Morning and thanks for waking up with us. We made it to Friday. It's June 29th. I'm Lauren Barnes.
I'm Joe Moreno. As you guys get set and moving out the door, we've just been discussing the heat. So much of it lately.
So much of it, I know.
I don't know what else I can expand upon with it, but I do know Elisa Raffa is back on no sleep, and she's here to give some weather, you know?
Woo.
You were here till when last night? 10 o'clock news last night?
I did the 10 o'clock show last night, and I actually feel much better at 5 a.m. after having a little sleep than I thought I would.
Lauren, how long do you think that'll last? I don't know.
It's the
hopefully 2 hours at least.
It's the coffee in my veins right now, but hopefully we'll just have to replenish that. Heat advisories again throughout today and tomorrow. We'll continue with the heat and humidity. We still have the excessive heat warning up to the north and west of I-44. Right now it's pretty warm. It's 78 degrees in Springfield, 76 in Fort Leonard, and 75 in Branson. Dew points are over 70 in spots, so it's pretty humid out there this morning, very warm and very muggy. We are registering some heat indices this morning. It feels like 82 at Lake of the Ozarks, and it feels like 80 in Springfield. Dry conditions on the roads. The only hazard with the car is that it's going to get very hot, and that's going to be dangerous for any children or pets that are left inside of it, so please don't do that. We'll have mostly sunny skies at the pool, a very extreme UV index, so please drink water. Sunscreen, temperatures in the middle 90s. Will be hot as you fire up the barbecue, 90 degrees by 6 o'clock. We'll have mostly clear skies through the overnight. More updates on the heat and your 4th of July forecast in 10 minutes.
Making news around America, investigators are still trying to figure out why a gunman opened fire at a Maryland newspaper yesterday, killing 5 people. CBS's Angelica Alvarez is in Annapolis, where police say it was a targeted attack.
This is the front page of today's Capitol Gazette, the morning after a gunman opened fire inside its newsroom, killing 5 people and injuring others.
First victim's name is Wendy Winters. Second victim is Rebecca Smith. Third victim is Robert Hyacin. Fourth victim is Gerald Feshman. And the 5th victim is John McNamara. We're deeply saddened that we had to make those notifications, and we're deeply saddened that a person had to take this into his own hands, and this is a result.
Several shots have been fired, possible shotgun. At least 10 shots heard.
38-year-old Jared Ramos has been charged with 5 counts of first-degree murder. Officers say he used a shotgun and was carrying smoke grenades when he was apprehended. Police arrived at the scene within a minute of the first emergency call.
They just went straight in there, and when he heard them coming, he threw his weapon down, and less lives were lost than I think could have been lost.
The Gazette reported that Ramos has a long-standing grudge against the newspaper. He filed a defamation suit against it in 2012, but a judge dismissed the case. Sources say officers used facial recognition software to ID Ramos because he had damaged his fingertips to prevent quick identification. Authorities were seen searching his apartment late last night. Angelica Alvarez, CBS News, Annapolis, Maryland.
2 people were treated with minor injuries at a nearby hospital. Neither was shot. The injuries are believed to be caused by flying glass. Both people involved in the defamation suit are no longer with the newspaper.
We move to some political coverage now. Attorney General Josh Hawley says the nomination of a new Supreme Court justice will be the defining issue in this year's Senate race in Missouri. He made a stop in Springfield yesterday for the opening of a U.S. Senate campaign office. Hawley spent some time talking to voters, discussing the upcoming Supreme Court vacancy. Meanwhile, just across the street from the new office, Missourians protested a lawsuit filed by Hawley and other Republicans against the Affordable Care Act. If the lawsuit is successful, 2.5 million Missourians who have a pre-existing condition could lose coverage.
As the race for Senate ramps up, people really care about health care. It's something that they really feel strongly about. It affects people's day-to-day, and they want to make sure they have a senator who will stand up for their health care, and Josh Hawley has already shown that he's not that person.
I support coverage for pre-existing conditions. I think that insurance companies should be forced to cover pre-existing conditions. What I do not support is government, big insurance collusion, which is what Obamacare is.
You guys know that I raise cattle, Southwest Missouri.
Hawley challenged U.S. Senator Claire McCaskill to a debate about the Supreme Court vacancy and highlighted his criteria for a new justice: a constitutionalist who will apply the Constitution the way it is written and apply the law fairly, not based on personal preference.
more local news. Springfield city manager has served for the last 10 years, but tomorrow will officially be the end of his tenure. Greg Burris announced his resignation last year, but it will take effect tomorrow at midnight. Burris leaves behind a legacy of digging the city out of a $200 million underfunded police and fire pension plan, as well as leading the city through the stock market recession of 2008, which happened the day he was sworn in. Burris's replacement will be Jason Gage from Salina, Kansas, and Burris is doing everything possible to make it a smooth transition.
My goal is to make sure he doesn't have any fires to put out when he walks in the door. I'm trying to make his first couple of weeks as mundane as possible by having as many things wrapped up as we can.
Burris will still be in the area after his resignation to lead the Give 5 program, which is a volunteer program for those aged 60 and older.
Moving to a local spotlight this morning, we continue our First Responder Friday series. Of course, you know now, we highlight the men and women making a difference in our community.
This week, Daniel Shedd brings us the story of an off-duty firefighter in Branson salvaging a family's vacation.
Well, Joe and Lauren, good morning. Thank you isn't nearly enough. Michelle began her email to the Branson Fire Department. I wasn't sure how we were going to take care of everything. However, there you were, willing to help in any way you could. It was Branson Division Chief Randy Fogel that saw the Wrights family RV on fire just weeks ago. They were just making their way into town on vacation. Division Chief Fogel not only helped put that fire out, which was transmission fluid, but also helped tow the camper so the family can continue their weekend getaway. I spoke with Michelle's husband, Todd, on the phone.
Yeah, and having those guys there to just kind of work through the problem and get us on our way as quickly as we could, that was really huge.
Now, coming up later this morning on Daybreak and 10 on Color 10, you're going to hear from Division Chief Fogel, as well as why Todd and his wife Michelle really needed this vacation in the first place.